Okay, this video is to go over lesson 4.14 on review packet 4D. So the first problem is explain how you can use this graph to draw a number line graph for the solution to x squared minus 3x minus 4 is greater than 0. So the first thing I want you to think about is, you can break this inequality into two equations before you start. So we have y equals x to the third x to the second minus 3 times x minus 4, and also we have y equals 0. So we can draw two graphs, which is this line. This is the y equals x squared minus 3x minus 4, and the y equals 0 is the horizontal line that goes through 0, right? So you gotta write the set of solutions on the number line, right? So number line, as you know, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And negative number on the left side of the 0, as you know. And then I want you to compare 2 points on those two equations. So for example, if you compare this point and this point, right? The blue point actually, this one, right? I'm using blue point for this one, right? You compare these two and which one's greater? Obviously blue point is greater, and that actually contradicts what it says, right? This says what x value makes this graph greater than this graph. Obviously this is bad, right? So x is bad. X equals 0 is bad. How about negative 2, right? So the blue point will be right here, and the red point will be somewhere up here. And compare these 2 points, which one's better, and which one's greater, right? Negative 2 is greater, so this is good, right? And you can do that. You can do the rest of them. You can try that, and you can express in a number line, such as, for example, something like this. If this shows that y equals greater than or equal to, because that's a closed circle, so y equals greater than or equal to 0. You've seen that before I'm sure you've seen that before in middle school, so you can do that. Okay. Next problem is pretty much the same thing, but a different equation. You can use this graph. You can actually graph these y equals x to the third and y equals x. You know how to graph these things. You can make a table and x and y, and for example, you can do negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. You can plug that in right here, and you can crank out what the y value is, and you can graph that. This is really easy one. Those are the two basic graphs that you've learned before. Y equals x is just a straight line like that, right? And you graph this one and do the same thing that you did in the previous problem. Take a look at the second problem. Next problem. The equation x cubed plus 28 times x equals 10x squared plus 24 has two solutions, x equals 2 and x equals 6. Oh, that's easy. They already have the answers. Answer each question to find the graph of the blah blah blah. Okay, so this says, okay, based on this equation, we're gonna have to find out the graph of this one. Does number 2.5 make that true? Okay, so what I want you to do is plug in 2.5 in there. 2.5 plus 28 times 2.5. Is it less than 10 times 2.5 square plus 24? Do that calculation and say if it's true or false. Try again with 3.5 and 5. Do they make that true or false? your answers parts A and B should be the same. Explain why this happens. Blah blah blah. Okay, so this is pretty easy. Okay. Next, it says draw a number line to represent x is greater than 3. You know how to do that? Alright, let me give you some examples. Let me draw x is greater than, for example, 6. Okay? So 6, we don't have an equal sign, so it's open circle. That means it doesn't include 6. Right? And then it's greater. Obviously, greater number is on the right side of 6, so you gotta go this way, right? But we gotta be careful. That's 3. So next one says draw a number line to represent x is less than or equal to 10. So let me show you some examples. Okay. For example, x is less than or equal to, for example, 7. Okay. So if you have equal sign like that, you use closed circle, meaning that you include 7. Okay. And then whatever the number has to be less than or equal to 7. So this number is on the left side of it, so you go to left side. Okay. How can the number lines for okay, so you combine those two. So part C will be, for my example, I'm not going to use that because that's your problem. My example will be, okay, here's my 6, here's my 7. I'm sorry. I use open circle for that. and then I go to the right side, and then I use the closed circle for 7, and I go to the left side. And this is what x is greater than 6, but less than or equal to 7. So that's how you do that. Okay? Do you have another problem for this? I guess not. Okay.